Good morning, Kevin here, and usually what I say is, where am I today? Well, I am by Fittleworth Community Stores and heading out on a walk to find the church in the woods. So I've decided to come down here on my own today, and I got accosted in the car park by those two. Steve and Cynthia. No, I wasn't going to be on my own because I'd get frightened if I was walking on my own. So we're going to set off from here. This is the starting point of our walk. Steve's got all the information. We're looking for different things. One is a house, obviously the church in the woods, and just have a nice walk. So we've got to head off in that direction, and we've got to cross the road and onto the Serpent's Trail. So shall we go?
Yep.
Let's go. Well, we've come along this lane here and it's started to rain. We don't want rain, do we? So we're heading along here. We're looking for a particular place called Churchwood, but along the side of the road here there's an old well. Look at that. But it's all been capped off, I'm assuming for safety reasons. And you've got the roller there, and there is a little bit of chain just there, and there used to be a little bit of chain which we wound round, and then with a really strong rope. And there's the handle that turns it. Let's see if it still turns there. It still turns, look at that. Isn't that amazing? Fantastic. You don't see these very often now. But I do remember we had a smaller one in a garden where I used to live as a boy. Yeah, it's fantastic seeing that. But this is what all the locals would have been getting their water from. Let me just come round this way underneath these branches. And there it is, just there. From the other side. Well, we found it, that's what we're looking for. That bit of wood. The Serpent's Trail. And as is very typical with this part of the world, we've got the sweet chestnut either side of this wood path or wood track, or track going through the woods. So it's Steve said there is one climb. There's two walks, one takes in quite a steep climb, and I'm hoping it's this one to get it out the way very quickly. But yeah, it's lovely. We've got a little bit of sunshine coming through. Got lots of bird song around us. And we're going to be heading up this way. We've just come through these woods, down through there, across this stile, and we're still following the Serpent's Trail. And we've just come out to this beautiful view, but just look at the clouds. We did have some rain just a minute ago, but didn't get too wet at all. The field is planted with sweet corn. It's a huge field. So we got across this field on this Serpent's Trail path, back up into those trees there. Hopefully we can get there before it starts raining again. I've got a big poncho with me which I deliberately brought with me, because it will cover not only myself but my rucksack and all my camera equipment, which is vital. This is exactly what we didn't want, ladies and gentlemen. Rain. Can't probably see it in this camera, but it is sweeping across from those hills, which are disappearing in the rain and the clouds. You know, the mist that you can see is low cloud and rain, and we are sheltering in this woods. We're not getting any rain on us at all, but we now think we've taken possibly the wrong turn back the other side of those woods just over there, because we should have found a place called Bedham Lane. But anyway, I'm not panicking. Never panic. We never get so far out of it we can't find a way back. So yeah, well, we've walked up this lane, up that hill. We've got lots of rain or water coming from the trees, and we've got to go down here, public bridle way, and what we're looking for is Bedham Church, and we think it's just down here. It is the eerie remains of an abandoned school and church. It's just tucked away in the woodland near Petworth. Yeah, it's definitely here. You can see it there. Bedham Church and School, or St Michael's and All Angels Anglican Church, as it was originally known, I think. Here it is, just there. It was built in about 1880 to serve the hamlet, which is within the District of Chichester. The structure itself looks pretty sound, but there's no roof to it at all, as you can see. Some people have reported an eerie feeling in the woods, while others say it is enchanted. Let's just have a wander around the outside. The builder, or the person that got it built, was William Townley Mitford, who was an MP of Pitshill Manor. And you can see there was probably a bit of a structure just here at one point, where the walls have all fallen down. The doorway through there, sadly, people have put graffiti on it, which really is just ridiculous. The school, when it was used, had about 60 pupils and 3 teachers. Oh, you got some very strong structural frame going up here, just in front of me, and it goes, and there's one on the inside as well. So we don't want to get too close to that. We've got to keep out of it. We're not allowed inside it. So I'm just going to back away around these trees, so I can bring you a better shot of it. It's a bit difficult because this is I'm guessing the west end of the church, of the old school. I mean, well, school and church, of course. But as you can see, just around me, got these very steep banks, and it's all mainly holly, but it's all very overgrown. Look at this. But clearly people do come down here and keep this clear. Carry on round this side, the south side. It had a single room that was divided by a curtain to segregate the infants from the senior classes. Let me just see if I can stand here and show you inside that way. And then there's the wall. Sorry about the shaky camera, but I'm reaching up into a window. And you can see around the outside of the surrounds of the windows there's an old metal frame, and it's on all of them. At the end of the school week, the chairs were turned to face the east and the ink pots removed from the desks in readiness for the weekend's church services. So I'm back right at the beginning of where I was just a minute ago. Due to the fall of pupils, the school was closed just before the First World War, but the church remained open. As you will have seen, it's built of brick and stone, and I think there's been some conservation work done to this. You can see, I think, where some of the pointing has been done, especially on the upper levels just here. But it's a really lovely looking building. Such a shame that this bit succumbed to the time where it was all fallen down. But at the top there you've got the old, which would have been originally a bell, single bell up there, and there is an old weather vane at the top which looks like a cockerel. At the moment we've got clear blue skies above us, and you can see that the sun is streaming through the trees. I'm just standing back at the moment, and just to have a good look at the church and school. During the 20th century, the hamlet attracted some high profile artistic residents, so it seems. One of those was Edward Elgar and his wife Alice. Their daughter also was with them. Carice, I think her name was, and they lived in a cottage not far from where we are now, for about 4 years. I think it was 1917 to 1921, so this would have been a lovely spot to have come and walked through the woods and come up to this old school and church. It is rather a charming place. The unfortunate thing is we've got where it was raining so heavy earlier on, the water droplets are cascading down. I don't know whether the camera picks up any of them, but there's quite a lot. It was suggested that Alice heard the church bells ring to celebrate the end of World War I. By the end of the 1930s, services were held a few times a month by the rector of Fittleworth, with one of the local ladies playing the harmonium. The doors shut in 1959, after the congregation dwindled so much. And as you can see, it's just a shell of a building now. Rather sad, because it is a rather lovely setting, and I'm pretty sure with some restoration work and trees cleared away, this could be turned back into a usable little chapel again. We're on this lane now. Cynthia's just behind me. We've got Steve just here. We're now desperately trying to find the next point of interest, but we are very concerned about the clouds closing in again. We're all absolutely soaked with our trousers and our feet, but we're heading down this very rough track, and we're looking for a place called Brinkswell, and it's a cottage that Edward Elgar lived in. It's a 17th century cottage, timber framed, refaced with stone rubble, and it's hipped and thatched according to the information we've looked up. And oh my gosh, it's here already. Here it is. This was at one time the home of Edward Elgar. So that's the one. And there's a tablet on the cottage somewhere. Records that Sir Edward Elgar lived in this house from 1917 to 1919. He composed his cello concerto while living in the house, but the detached room in the garden where he served his study has been demolished. Let me just wander around this way a little bit more, try and get a bit more of the cottage in. Beautiful place, look at that. Between 1917 and 1921, Edward Elgar lived with his wife Alice in Brinkswell. The days he spent here were some of his happiest, and it was there that he composed his last 4 major works. Of course, this is a now private property, so we can't wander all the way around, unfortunately. In 1920, his wife died, his beloved wife died of lung cancer, and Alice had been his constant source of support and strength for the composer, and his death devastated him. He never quite recovered from his loss, and a fact that was reflected in his deflection from composition. But it is said, although Elgar did not die in Fittleworth, many local residents believe that his spirit still inhabits the area. And we've just heard a tremendous clap of thunder, so we need to take shelter somewhere. Well, the rain's just arriving, and we've got the thunder, and we've probably got some lightning around us, so this will be Kevin, Cynthia and Steve saying bye bye, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Hello, my name's Andrew Norris, and I'm standing in a wood in Croatia. If, like me, you've just enjoyed watching Kevin's latest video, do give him a thumbs up, and if you haven't, consider subscribing. In that way you'll be kept informed of every new video that Kevin uploads. Thank you.